Hey there. You probably know the Video Creator Show is brought to you by VidChops.com. What is VidChops.com? Well, it is an editing service that will take the horrible burden of editing off your back. We all know editing, video editing, it's tedious. It takes forever. But what if you had a professional who did it for you? You go to sleep, you wake up, it's done. Wouldn't that be magical? VidChops.com. Hire a professional, save yourself time and energy, and take your YouTube channel to the next level. Welcome to this exciting episode of the Video Creator Show. I am, of course, Grant, and I talk to people who have achieved a certain level of success on YouTube. Today, I'm speaking with Jack O'Shea, and he is not a well-behaved woman. His YouTube channel is comedy skits that truly tap into the zeitgeist of our time, such as guys with fish pictures on Tinder are hotter, TikTok says I have ADHD, Gogurt, the origin story, and when a Sigma male meets a genie. I seriously...
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was one of those ones where I had to do so much like special effects because I was like, I want this to actually look like a genie. But I knew the second I wrote it, I was like, this is going to take me a week to do this. It's not worth it, but I kind of want to see if I can do it. So it really set me back production wise, but it was worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. Well, let's just jump into it. So the genie video, like it went pretty viral. The special effects were definitely like higher end than most of your videos. Like, first of all, your editing is fantastic. Like, do you do your own editing? Do you hire somebody? Like, how does all that work?
So I edit everything, which is great because it's my favorite part, honestly, of what we do, where it's like that of all the steps, that's the one where for whatever reason it's the most fun, just because it's like you can kind of clean up or seeing the thing actually come together. That's my favorite part. But at the same time too, my fiance and I, who's the girl who's in all of the videos with me, we've been talking about like we need to get an editor or something, just because it doesn't make, it's just so inefficient for, sorry, we got dog toys. It's just so inefficient. And it would just be we could make so much more content if I just like had somebody else doing that at the same time. But I just love editing, and also I have trust issues. So that's the other big part of it.
I get it. Well, also your stuff it seems very customized, like personalized. Like the cuts seem very meticulous. The timing is really specific, and you could definitely get an editor, I think, who could get things 90% there, maybe even 95%. But I'm guessing it would require a lot of notes. And at least, like, even when I'm editing my own videos, I feel like I'll be like, oh, I don't like this. And then if somebody else sends me something I don't like, then I feel guilty. And I don't know. Maybe that's what you're worried about.
Yeah, that is the exact feeling. Because I mean, so before I did this full time, I worked as a producer for like digital media companies for 6 or 7 years. And especially towards the end when I was like higher and higher up, half of my job was giving notes to editors. I hated doing it because it's like, one, it's so tedious. And you just feel like you're nitpicking, and you feel guilty. You feel like you're bothering them, just because I'm so anal about it, where it's like, no, can you just cut off 2 frames into this shot? I think the pacing would work a little bit better. And yeah, I need to get an editor. But to get one, I need to basically find someone where it's like, I just trust you and I'm not even going to look at it. You take it and you run.
So I love that we're getting into some technical stuff immediately. So what if you got an editor and they got it just like 90% there? Like they did all the tedious stuff, like the audio leveling, they imported the footage, they chopped it up. And, then from there, they just send you the project file and you can just kind of mess with it. Like I feel like with editing, there's always that annoying time of like uploading files. And, there's certain things that probably don't have to be done by you.
Yes. There's definitely a lot of assistant editor stuff. The first like 50% of it, we're just uploading files and transcoding it and color correcting it. And you're right, like the audio and all that stuff. I love how technical this is getting, because I can tell that I don't know what your audience is exactly looking for, but I can talk the technical side of what we do forever. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of stuff where while I'm doing it, I'm like, my time could probably be better spent doing other things. And you're right, where it's like if somebody basically gave me the thing 90% done, and then I can just sort of fine tune it in my little way, that is the model. You're preaching to the choir. That's kind of what I need, and that's something. Again, my fiance and I have talked about this for a year and a half. This is definitely the next step.
Right on, dude. So as far as like technical stuff, so you have a background in digital marketing, media production. I probably butchered that, but you said something of that sort.
Yeah, I've worked basically ever since when I graduated college. I moved out to LA, and I've just worked in digital media since then. I started off as a PA mainly for two companies. One's called Awesomeness TV that I worked for like 3 or 4 years, and then one's FBE, or Fine Bros, or React, like the teens react, kids react, right. that stuff. And I just worked as a producer there. So I've done some things for like network TV and stuff. And I've done like obviously student films and stuff where I've helped people out. But for the most part, I've just always worked in the YouTube space. So I have like a weirdly deep knowledge of how YouTube works, even before I started really uploading my content there.
So, I mean, it makes sense why your videos are so tight then. Like, you have all this experience producing videos professionally. And I understand what you mean when you say you have, like, an understanding of the YouTube space. Because it is kind of a unique ecosystem space, whatever you want to call it. Most of my income now is just freelancing, kind of working for YouTubers, but you seem like you have a lot of experience with larger companies on YouTube, which I feel like is kind of different than like working for a guy with a dream, right? So,
yeah.
Like, have you worked for a guy with a dream, or like, does that feel different at all?
I've advised and like consulted. It's definitely very different. And actually, you know what I did? There was a time where on weekends I would edit or just like help out a guy named Hunter March, who he was with Awesomeness TV, and now he's on like E, and he does like some day pop or something. Great guy though. And it is just so much. It is so very different. One, the money's not as good. Two, it was so weird working for those digital media companies because they were like trying to be traditional media companies where they have all these different departments and 12 accountants and two people in HR and just all this stuff. And I remember talking to my dad one time and being like, I just don't think this is the business model. You can't make enough doing it this way. It's a lot easier working for like an actual company, like a media company with all the different departments and whatnot, but it's not nearly as fun. It's much more fun because you're so limited when you're working for a company where you have a boss who's going to give you notes, and then you give notes, and then you plan this, and it's, you have to set Google Calendar things. Whereas when it's just with somebody else, it's like, hey, I shot this video. Can you try to make it into something? Yep. Here's all the ingredients, make a cake. Like, that's more fun in a way.
Yeah, it's like, do you want money or do you want freedom working for somebody? It's
exactly.
Pick one.
Either way, you're wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. So once like your career clearly has gone well in this space, and then at some point a few years ago, it seems like about 4 or 5 years ago, you got really serious about posting to your own channel. And you're not a channel that uploads every day or even every week or anything, but it seems like the content is original enough and clever enough to where like that almost seems to work in your favor. Like, can you speak to kind of that process? I know you said you tend to sort of obsess over things, so maybe it's not by design as much as just sort of that's how it has come out, but it seems to be working. Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, actually, really quickly, let me just butt in, because as you were saying, the posting consistency, I got to tell you, I should have given you a heads up beforehand. So I have had the weirdest the past 2 months. And I should have given you a heads up, because if I sound weird at all, it's because of this. I'm on like just so many. I've had this weird rash, like these really bad hives that have like come for the past 2 months. Can't figure out exactly what's causing it, like exactly how to treat it. So I'm on and it happened for a few days. I'm on so many different medications and drugs that are like, I'm on just antihistamines and like H2 blockers and steroids and antibiotics and all these things. So this whole conversation does feel a little bit like a dream to me. So just giving you a heads up with that. Like, if I say anything insane, take it with a grain of salt. But yes, for the posting consistency and stuff, that's probably my biggest challenge is being able to post consistently, because like you said, like when we make videos and stuff, there is just our production is so much more than it really does need to be. It's just my fiance and I, we do literally from writing to posting everything, thumbnails, everything, we do it all. And everything is so like crafted in a way that just isn't really necessary for the internet. And it's so funny seeing like my friends who also make stuff, they could take the video, the when a Sigma male meets a genie video, and they could do it just with their phone, just themselves, no costumes, no lights, no nothing. And it would get probably a similar amount of views. And they did it in 15 minutes. And it took me a week because I had to make Michaela's skin blue. Like, why? But so as far as like posting consistently, it's something that it's always on my like goals list, is like fucking figure out how to post consistently. I just have an issue where if I get knocked off my schedule a little bit, I'm just in a tailspin and I need to like, it takes me like 3 weeks and then I like, okay, regroup, write a bunch more stuff, shoot a bunch more stuff. But then the second I have hives or something, like I can't make anything. So it's been just such a weird 2 months right now where I'm like, I got to post something, but I can't really shoot anything. And I'm on so many drugs, it's hard to edit. Yeah.
Right. Well, dang, I'm sorry you're dealing with that. That is rough. Health issues always make things a lot harder. But hopefully in the long run, like it maybe will add to your creativity, you know, that angst, you overcome it and then it pours into the art.
I like it. You know, hopefully we learn from this. That's a very positive way of looking at things. And I think I will. I will appreciate my skin the second this is over. Michaela's been trying to get me on lotions and serums and moisturizers and cleansers and whatnot since we got together. And I haven't really listened. Now I'm listening. I might actually wear sunscreen now. Oh. Like there's a lot of things I'm totally willing to do just to enjoy not having hives. I'm really excited for that.
Mm-hmm. Right on. I believe I am trusting the process right now.
Trust, yeah.
So, like when you started getting more serious about posting to your channel, like what switch flipped in your mind? So you have a career that's going well, and then you kind of decide to start working for yourself, essentially. I'm sure it wasn't like, you know, you jumped in feet first or anything, but there was a point where you kind of had this like trickle of videos, and then all of a sudden it seemed like you got more serious. Can you walk us through that period of time?
Yeah, so it's interesting because it's like it doesn't really feel as much like I made the decision as much as it's like just the different social media platforms kind of. So basically, I started out always wanted to make sketch comedy videos since I was like a teenager, and I made them with my younger brother Henry, and we moved out to LA, and we were both working in entertainment. Or working in digital media and stuff. And then every weekend we would basically just shoot a sketch comedy video. And that was where the first like posting schedule happened. We were just on Instagram. We did it completely wrong where like we didn't follow anyone we actually knew. We were so insecure about people being like, your videos suck, that we basically just posted to no one for like 3 years. Like we would be like, oh my God, we're at 4,000 Instagram followers in this video. I remember getting so excited when it's like the videos got to 1,000 views. And it's like, holy fuck, this is the coolest thing ever. We tried posting on YouTube and on Facebook and stuff like that, but we've had the 0 subscribers thing. So it's like, after a while, it's just depressing. We were getting some views on Instagram, we'll take it. And so we just posted on Instagram for like 2 years, but we built this crazy back catalog of sketches over that period of time. Sorry, I think... Okay.
It's all good.
Over that period of time. And then I remember when IGTV happened?
Yeah.
So IGTV happened and Facebook just was like, okay, if you make an IGTV video, we're going to put it in front of everyone. So we kind of fell into that accidentally. And all of a sudden our videos were getting like 250,000 views. It's like, okay, fuck yeah. All right, guys, we've worked really hard. It's happened. Finally, we made it. We can quit our jobs. This is great. Then like a month and a half later, Instagram's like, never mind, no more IGTV videos. Our views completely plummet. My brother and I are like, fuck, maybe it's just never going to happen. And then a few months later, the whole like, Michaela was like, you guys should post your stuff on TikTok. And that was really the moment where it was like, we kind of got reinvigorated. We didn't even shoot any new content. We just took the sketches that we had shot in the previous few years, posted it there, and TikTok just loved it. And so it was like, fuck, yeah, okay, cool. Now we got a little bit of juice going and whatnot. Still just Instagram and TikTok. We didn't really have any other social media accounts. We had the channels, we just weren't really uploading to them. And then the following year, so I think it was 2021, was when I was set my like New Year's resolution. I was like, even if nobody looks at it, I got like 1.5 million followers on TikTok, some thousands on Instagram. I just got to post everything on every channel and just see if it works. And in like February, I logged on to YouTube, and I had gone from like 500 subscribers to like 25,000, and I hadn't noticed it. And basically I looked, I was like, oh, like a few of the videos are like on some, like the YouTube front page or something. And all that was the real moment where I was like, okay, this can be maybe not like a career, but I don't need to have another job while I'm doing this. And so it's weird when you say it's like, when did I decide to jump in? I don't really feel like I decided to jump in. It was more just like, oh shit, this happened. And now the algorithms, the platforms changing their algorithms are why I quit my job, essentially, if you can boil it down to that.
Sure, that makes sense. And do you feel like it was useful to be creating videos kind of in a vacuum for 3 years? Because I feel like once you start getting an audience, if maybe you're not quite ready for it, like you're still rough around the edges, in a way, like growing too quickly seems like it can be a curse in a way. Like you start thinking maybe you're better than you are, whereas that process maybe kind of humbled you and had you focus more on what do you think about the videos? Not like what do other people think, but how do you feel about it? What is your process like? Do you think that was beneficial for you? Or did it just kind of suck?
No, it's I feel like a douche saying, because like on the one hand, yeah, definitely. On the other hand, when I was first starting, I wouldn't care about, like, if I told myself like, hey, you can either blow up right now or you can blow up in 5 years and be a lot wiser and more mature about it, I would have said, fuck you, I want to blow up right now. So it's like, you kind of feel like a jerk saying that, where it's like telling people to be patient. It's really easy to tell people to be patient. It's really annoying when somebody tells you to be patient, because you're like, no, I want it right now. But yeah, I honestly don't know what I would be doing if this had happened when we were first making videos, because we didn't really know how to do it either. Like I only a few years ago figured out how lighting works. And right now this is just a window. That's why this side of my face is completely blown out. But like I didn't totally understand microphones for the longest time. And I didn't even really know what color correcting was, even though I worked in digital media, like. And also, like, it's the 10,000 hours things of, I've probably written and shot like well over 400 sketches. And so once you've done enough of that, like it's a lot easier and it's a lot more fine-tuned, and it's just experience, like just learning. I think if I had been learning with an audience, I'd probably be a little more fucked in the head than I am right now. So yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, because it can be such a curse getting famous too early. Like, it's so important, I think, to understand yourself and, as you put it, be more wise. Because ultimately, I feel like a foundation for success revolves a lot around who you are in your personal life. And if you don't have that foundation, then you kind of end up identifying with your audience in your fame, your channel, whatever, way too much. And obviously, your online presence, nobody's online presence, is who they actually are. And people can kind of lean too far into this version of themselves. There's some saying, I think it comes from Hollywood, where it's like you stop maturing at the age you got famous at.
Yes,
so,
that's a really good saying. Yes.
Yeah, and so in a way, like the later you get famous, the better. Maybe within reason, if you're like on your deathbed, then you're like, god damn it. But
what's the point at that point? Yeah. But no, just really quick, because that's a good point. Like whenever I see it's mostly on TikTok, obviously, but then it happens in all the platforms. You'll have like the I hate to call them like a fad, but you'll have like this person's now the biggest social media star for the next 3 months. That person is like, I mean, and just having worked in digital media forever, I've shot a lot of shows with those people. And the sad part is usually it's about a year later, they're not even really on any platforms anymore because they got famous. You make one video that becomes a meme, and then you get the fans and the following and the whatnot. But it's like, you have to be doing it for the right reasons. That sounds so fucking stupid, but like, I love making videos. So even if I had nobody watching them, I would still be making them just because that's what I love to do. But for other people, that's not really their passion. And so ultimately their content just suffers over time because it's like, you kind of figure out that, I can just do, instead of making a video like the first 3 videos I made, why I got all these followers, people are going to like my stuff anyway. So I'm just going to kind of phone it in, and slowly but surely you just kind of forget about them. And then they got to figure out what else to do with their life. So I think that there's definitely a lot to be said of like, it's great to be learning and figuring yourself out and figuring out like your passion and what you like to do without a massive audience of strangers. I
think the thing that gets a lot of people, if they have any success, is they end up trying to be too methodical about maintaining it. So when you say that you just love making videos, I think what that ultimately means is just you have taste and you know your taste. And if somebody is being too methodical about maintaining an audience, they end up, I think, they're like, oh, what's the new trend? Okay, let's make a video on that. But maybe they don't actually care about that. So let's say they have some, funny cooking video that blows up. And now they're like, well, I guess I'm the cooking guy now. Yeah. Whereas actually, if they had some other funny idea that had nothing to do with cooking, they could have made that video and it would have done really well. And then they can kind of build an audience around their taste, essentially. And it sounds a little pretentious to say that, but I think it is very true. And it's really important to develop that sense of taste, in my opinion.
Yeah. And also just like the patience and the will to not give in to it. Like our biggest videos by far are the porn parody ones where I'm a plumber. Like that's the that's the one that, like, no matter what. But so Michaela and I are really careful of we specifically don't do them too often because we don't want to be kind of pigeonholed into this. That's our only shtick, or every time we post one of those, for the next 2 videos we post, people are commenting like, make another plumber video or something. So we honestly try not to we put an effort into not making them. Even if we think of a good bit, we basically just make them now when we're trying to, as like almost like a catalyst to boost something else that we're doing. Like, we're going to do a live show. I'll post the plumber video and then the next day post the announcement, because it's like, it's just such an automatic, people go to it. It's really hard not to. There are times when I'm like, shit, I need more money. where it's
5
really hard
plumber videos, let's go.
Like it just seems to work.
Fix my piping.
It's exactly. It's such a cheat code. We can't let ourselves do it because then we're just gonna kind of lose ourselves. And you have to make. Yeah, you have to really curate, and that just kind of starts with like yourself. I don't know.
It really does. So when, like, kind of speaking of money, this is your full-time job. Like, do you you mostly monetize with ad revenue. Like, can you talk about your other kind of revenue sources and how, like, the business aspect of all of this?
So we make money. We basically just rely on ad revenue. We want to add the other sources of income, streams of income and stuff. But so we make the majority just because on Facebook and YouTube, because obviously that's the best CPMs and it's not even close. We post everything everywhere. And then basically our YouTube ad revenue plus our Facebook ad revenue is the revenue that the channel makes. We do and have done a lot of like brand partnerships and stuff because of the way that we do our content, where they're all pretty short. No video really goes past like 2.5 minutes, and we have a lot of videos that are like just 1 minute. I don't love doing shout outs because those always end up being like a minute of me talking about some company and then 1 minute of a sketch afterwards. And I just kind of feel like a dick to the audience being like, hey, your 50% of this video is an ad. Like if it's long form, it totally works. If we made 10-minute videos, I would have no problem with it. But so when we make branded content, the ones that we really like, kind of fly to are like, we did like 6 videos for Manscaped. And I remember them pitching, being like, can you do this like shout out thing? And I was like, I can't, but I can make a video about manscaping and have your product in it and mention the name. And they were like, okay, cool. Yeah, that's totally fine. But most companies are like, no. And for whatever reason, I don't know why they're like that. Because honestly, to me, it seems like just looking at the link clicks and stuff and the Bitly links, more people click it when it's the subliminal ad that's just a regular sketch video than the shout out minute long one. And more people view the video because they're not turned off by the minute long ad. So there's that. And then we've done like merch and stuff before, but we kind of got to get back to it. We have these pool boy shirts that people seem to like. So we probably should start selling them more.
Totally. Yeah. I feel like those would sell well. One suggestion I do have, some unsolicited advice. Like with all the people I've talked to on this podcast, one thing that kind of blew my mind, and I never used these much at all with my channels, but affiliate links. A lot of people I talk to, they make half of their revenue off of affiliate links, sometimes more. So like they don't have to do a sponsorship. It's just they can mention it and people just kind of know that it's in the description. And you can update all of your descriptions at once and they're just there forever. And you can just say, check out Cash App, check out whatever in the description, and or just like even an Amazon link, like here's a pipe, you could plumber joke.
Brother, I'm writing this down.
Yeah, like people make a lot of money off of these links.
I'm putting this in my revenue streams doc. I literally have that because I'm really weird. Yeah, hell yeah, affiliate links.
Yeah, most companies have affiliate programs. Amazon has a huge one, and you can just sign up for that. And anytime somebody clicks a link and they buy something off Amazon that's on your list, I believe, then you get a percentage of that purchase, and that's pretty cool. You don't got to do anything. So I'm still sort of working on I don't know, I'm again working for other people mostly right now, but when I make my glorious return to YouTube, I will definitely incorporate those more. So figured I'd throw that out there.
No, thank you. And it's funny because we've done a few product placement ones, which are kind of similar to the affiliate links in that, like, I don't actually mention the brand whatsoever. The only difference is that I'll be drinking a Coca-Cola and there's a Coca-Cola link, but I don't actually say, go check out Coca-Cola. And I mean, that's easily my favorite, like, branded content because I don't have to do shit. I'm just wearing a Cuts t-shirt.
That's
Boom.
the best, man. That's the best.
That's so easy.
Yeah, totally. So like we've talked a little about business. Now I kind of want to talk about, like, you're essentially running this channel with Michaela. Like, you have great on-camera chemistry and good in-person real-life chemistry as well. Yeah, I could gather. So what has that been like, kind of performing with your fiance and with somebody you're dating? Because I have run channels with friends, and overall it went well. It just like, it's kind of interesting because you have all these layers of your life that are kind of aligned with this person. And I don't mean to ask a loaded question. I just mean like, it's like, what is that like? Is it working on videos together? Like, is it there's got to be like a fire there. That's pretty dope, huh?
Yeah, that it's really interesting because like the only challenge that comes out of it is the work-life balance thing, where because we do everything together, I mean, we don't do everything together. Like, she's not like over my shoulder while I'm editing or anything like that, but we write this stuff together and we obviously shoot this stuff together. And you know, when the camera's on me, she's holding the camera. When the camera's on her, I'm holding the camera and whatnot. Actually, we have tripods. I don't know why I said holding, but behind the camera. And so the work-life balance thing, that's definitely the only real challenge from it. The positives by far outweigh it. It's really fun. Always. One of the reasons why I fell in love with her is she's really funny in a way that I like, in a comedic language that I don't speak, if that makes any sense. Where It's like, my brother and I, when we were making content together, now he lives in New York and he's a producer in New York, but when we were making content together, he and I had the exact same sense of humor. We had the exact same tone of voice. It made it really easy to come up with sketches and write them because it's just like two of the same brain working on one thing. It also becomes really frustrating when we can't come up with something because it's two people and we can't simultaneously come up with something. But for her, it's, we speak like different comedic languages, where I think that she's really funny. Like, I understand the jokes that she makes and stuff. I just can't even come up with them. So it's really fun collaborating with her in the sense of like, it just adds like a different flavor to the videos than if it was just me, and vice versa. Like, if she just wrote a sketch without any of my input, it'd be very different than if I was just a little bit of input and so on. She's been in digital media since she was like 11. So she has a whole wealth of knowledge, specifically on the talent side, that I didn't really have. Like, it was always the behind the scenes side and obviously working with talent and stuff. But she's been through like, the ringer of, from the beginning of YouTube almost to today. She's like a museum of YouTube with her knowledge and with just all the social media platforms and stuff too. So as a team, we're like really the perfect team in the sense of, I remember my brother and I, we were talking a few years ago and we were like, if we could add a third person, who would you add? And I was like, someone who knows how lights work. And my brother was like, someone who knows how to do makeup, because we are so limited. We can't be clowns in a sketch. We don't know how to do that. We refuse to ask anyone else for help because we're stupid. Michaela's a licensed esthetician. So it's sick. Like, she just has all these talents. We just complement each other in the perfect way where if I don't know how to do something, she just so happens to have 3 years of experience doing it. And so it's great. Yeah, it's really fun. The work-life balance is tough because there are times when it's like, shit, we've been working really hard for 9 days in a row. We should probably go on a date. But
that sounds kind of romantic in a way.
Yeah, but then except for when I don't have that thought, but she has that thought, or vice versa.
Right.
In which case, it's kind of there's like a weird little tension there, but the tension goes away in a couple hours. It's just, I don't know. Every day we get better at it. But yeah, she's the best collaborator for all this stuff.
That's beautiful. Yeah, you guys have a really interesting style together. Like, your videos, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's kind of like you two giving each other a lot of shit a lot of the time.
Yes.
So like, does that reflect your guys' sense of humor off camera as well? Or is that kind of just a performative thing?
Yes, we're off camera. I remember when we first started dating, and living together, because during COVID, Michaela moved in with me. And was going to be one of those things where it's like, just for the 2 weeks, like it'll be really fun. And they kept on expanding, and eventually we were like, this is really nice. Let's stay together and just live together forever. We realized that we spent like half of the day doing accents to each other, which I think to other people is the most annoying thing in the world. If I was with another couple and they were constantly talking to each other in Russian accents, I would hate that couple. Fortunately, we were just kind of like locked in a room together, so it was fine. And actually, another anecdote of that is Michaela does this one thing where whenever I answer the phone or I get a text message, she just always says, "Who is that? One of your whores?" And she did it in front of my brother one time, and he couldn't stop laughing. And so it's like, okay, let's put that in the sketch, because there's a lot of things that we find really funny together. Usually if somebody else finds that funny, then we're like, okay, other people find this funny. It's hard to, that's actually a real challenge. Just because it makes us laugh in our own stupid inside joke way doesn't necessarily mean it's funny to anyone else. But that's a rare challenge in the collaboration department. Yeah.
Well, and it seems like because your brains work differently enough, it seems like you cover a lot of ground that way. Like, sure, your inside jokes maybe won't be funny to everybody, but also, 290 million channel views on YouTube plus TikTok and everything. It seems like quite a few people enjoy your inside humor. And like that, has that been validating in some kind of deep way? Like, because I have found that, when videos get a lot of views, I'm like, yeah, I am pretty funny. I am pretty interested. Like, but you got to be careful with that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's validating and also infuriating in a way. There's one rule that I've always found, which is if I think a video is really good and can be really funny, it's going to bomb. And if I feel like I phoned in a video and I hate the video and I hate myself, and I'm like, this is hacky and cheap. This is what the hell am I doing? Why am I even making videos? That video always blows up. The plumber
Why do you
video,
think that is?
I don't know. The plumber video, we almost didn't post it because I was like, we didn't nail it. And that video probably paid for this apartment. Like, it's just I'm in a figurative way. We don't own the apartment. We rent. So it's hard to judge. It's very validating. It's also like the thing of just like everything's relative, where it feels awesome at first and then you get used to it and you just keep on raising the bar of what you expect of yourself and you expect videos to do and expect people to think. And so any time where we have like a huge jump up, when our YouTube channel blew up, it was like we were high for like 2 weeks. It was like, this is the greatest. And then three months later, it's like, yeah, well, obviously we have 350,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's not a big deal. What are we going to do now? And you just I kind of wish that I was better at, and we've talked about this before too, of like celebrating the successes. It's super important in this industry because if you don't, you kind of lose yourself. And I think that's what leads a lot of like social media creators and stuff to be like, I'm taking a mental health break. Because eventually now every now and then I'll think about like, it's insane that a video will get on YouTube, a video will be like, damn, it's only at 140,000 views. It's like, if I told myself that even a year and a half ago, that I was like, with that, I would punch myself in the face. So it's validating for a while. And then after a while, it becomes the norm. And you got to learn how to prevent that. You have to learn how to just be always excited.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think one thing also that maybe is difficult for you guys is, and this is something I ran into as well. Like our channel was based mostly off of ad revenue and sponsorships as well. But the issue with those is you can't make money while you sleep, so to speak. So like kind of it seems like in order to get to the next level or to even feel stable you kind of have to like make another video that explodes, and there's so much pressure involved in that. Whereas if there is this kind of like foundation, this kind of more steady financial foundation, I'm sure you get a lot of passive views still. That is very substantial. But do you think that's part of it, is sort of the financial side and kind of relying on ads, or is it just a purely like you feel better with more views, like an ego thing, so to speak?
I think it's financial, probably. There's also just the, having worked in digital media for so long, I've seen so many people who become the it person. Not that I've ever been even close to that, but like become the it person. And then, like I was saying before, just kind of slowly fade away. And you'll type their name now, and they're still making content, but their content's getting 4,000 views as opposed to when they were first the it person getting 50 million views. And you're like, how on earth could that happen? Like but it just does happen. So I think working in this industry, there's a constant fear that it's going to go away. And I think you're so right of just the pressure of once something does blow up, needing another one to be a huge hit and be like, I need this to be a huge hit. And I mean, that'll extend me editing from 1 to 2 days of editing to like sometimes a week and a half of like, I'm really overthinking the volume of when the music comes in. And I keep on exporting it because it sounds different on my phone than on my laptop.
Seriously.
Like, I mean, that's a thing that we could talk about. How insane is the difference between audio on your phone and on your laptop? I'm always checking to be like, okay, what are people actually watching these videos on? Should I cater to the phone, or should I cater to the people who are watching it on the Roku TV? But yeah, I think so. I think the pressure, like there's definitely the financial part of it. And there's just the part where it's like nothing's ever enough. You always want to be growing. The second you stop growing, you die. It feels like, and so, I mean, yeah. If that makes any sense.
I know what you mean. If you stop growing, you die. I guess that is, I don't know if that's like an algorithm thing or if it's kind of a like a mindset thing. So for me, like like to summarize my sort of YouTube trajectory, I started a video game channel with my friends in college. We made Let's Play videos for 3 months. So we just kind of recorded ourselves playing video games. Nobody cared about those videos at all. We had like 37 subscribers, and most of them were either our accounts or friends. Then we made a video called Samus, The Story You Never Knew. So like Samus from Metroid, and I wrote this script, and it was very philosophical. I thought it was funny at the time. Now I don't know if I'd call it funny, but it was funny enough for 2014 YouTube.
Yes.
And now it has, a couple million views. And we just started making that show. So The Story You Never Knew, these kind of philosophical, theoretically mind-blowing, funny videos about video games with a lot of like intense editing. And we basically made that show for years. And the channel kind of, it was doing very, very well. And then we kind of started following trends more. So we sort of started selling our soul a little bit, And over the years, like the more we did that, the more we had to rely on the trends. And the more we did that, the more we had to, cut out a little piece of ourselves to feed the algorithm gods. And then after years, I was exhausted and bored and frustrated. And it wasn't even doing that well anyway, because eventually people kind of catch on like, oh, he doesn't really care about this. And maybe they don't overtly, consciously think that.
Subconsciously,
but something's
slowly,
missing. Yeah. So there was this sort of peak, and then we could have kept making videos, and I could have kept making a living doing that. But it was like, I could tell where this was headed, and we tried kind of going back to the let's just be purely creative. But after a certain point, if you kind of build something on these trends, then you can't really hop back immediately. Like, you have to be so patient and
Yeah.
so financially stable and have so much time in order to like
Yes.
kind of correct it. So I honestly, I think where you're at is good. Like, you haven't made that mistake at all. Like, you treat these kind of trend videos or these plumber videos or whatever as like an occasional steroid shot to the channel, as opposed to just injecting all this testosterone and lifting and never getting any sleep. You know, it's like that. That's a healthy,
really good
sustainable
analogy.
way to do this. Yeah.
I was thinking as you were describing it, because I remember preaching at the different previous jobs I had, like the people who, the channels that are just basically trend hoppers, where they're seeing what's currently trending today. It really does, how you were describing it, it really sounds like a behind the music thing where it's like, so we just started doing like a little bit of cocaine, and then you need to do more and more and more and more, and eventually the music suffers. And it's like the trend thing is, it's such a quick hit. It is like a drug where it's like, it's a quick hit of, okay, everybody's making these videos with slime. We're gonna make a slime video, and it blows up for the next, it does really well for 2 days because it's trending, and people are looking for slime videos. Then when slime videos 2 days later aren't the trend anymore, that video gets 0 more views for the rest of the time. And there's also the thing too of the, like, if you're not growing, you're dying. It sounds like hyperbolic, but it is true in a sense of just, if you don't every day, it's not that people are unfollowing you, but people might not be using their YouTube accounts anymore that they're subscribed with. They might die, as sad as it is. Like, you, over time, even if you have 50,000 subscribers, in 100 years, if you don't get any more than those 50,000, you might still have 50,000 on your channel, but you have 0 because they're all dead. So it's one of those things where if you don't keep on growing, the algorithm kind of tells itself, like, we're putting these out in front of your subscribers, but less people are clicking it because less people are using their accounts or whatnot over time. And so then they put it out in front of less people because if that makes any sense. So that's why the stagnation, it really does feel super stressful sometimes. And you just kind of have to, like you said, just be patient and let it, be financially secure enough that you can get back to your roots and make the thing that seems to work.
Yeah, one thing I've been telling myself, and I'm not running a channel full time anymore, so this is more of a theory than a practice for me. But one thing I have been doing since I took a step back is focusing really intensely on my physical health and my mental health, and like prioritizing that, and obviously making enough money to be comfortable. But besides that, like, I'm rejuvenating my soul. And I do feel like if you have that intact, like, your channel is kind of a function of that, your soul, your mind, your mental stability, your ability to truly enjoy things and kind of share that joy with others, especially as a comedy channel. So that's sort of my theory right now. One day, I'll bring it into practice more in front of a camera again. But for now, that's kind of what I've been doing the last couple years. And at the very least, it feels really good. I'm definitely happier. And that's good. I like being happy. It's good to be happy.
Because I mean, right now I'm because of all this stuff, like, I'm eating super well and I'm taking like the right vitamins and whatnot, and drinking just 2 gallons of just water a day and stuff. And it is crazy how much better you feel. It is funny though, like, I have like a love-hate relationship with it because I love feeling really good and getting great night's sleeps and not drinking and eating healthy. Like, you just feel better and you feel happier and less stress. But then at the same time too, part of me is like, I feel like I make funnier stuff if I'm like in a bad place. So I'm constantly like, should I get really hungover and then watch some upsetting videos and just get in a terrible place? But then the second that, I come up with some really good ideas from that, I'll get healthy again and I'll be happy and whatnot. So it's like this weird balance of like, where do the jokes come from? And it's completely illogical because that makes no sense. I make the same level of content whether I'm eating really healthy or not. it's just one of those stupid things, I think, sometimes.
Well, I know exactly what you mean. It's sort of the age-old thing of does suffering make good art, right?
Yes.
And I think there is truth to that. And certainly for myself, like weed was a huge part of my like I would just be baked, like for my 20s, I was baked at least as often as I wasn't. And like part of that, it was also kind of the roller coaster, right? Of like, oh, I was up until 2 in the morning being baked. Now I feel like shit. But like it kind of worked until it didn't. But
yes,
it's like, I don't know. I think, well, I feel like Louis C.K. was talking about this. Like when you're doing everything right, like you're eating healthy, you're exercising, you're getting enough sleep, that you do feel better. But then there can almost be like a dryness to things. Like there needs to be a certain amount of indulgence, but like you don't want too much, obviously, but a certain amount to kind of like shake things up. Or maybe it's sort of neuroplasticity, right? If you're kind of just in this constant cycle in never deviating, you kind of like lose perspective. It's a great mystery. It's like inspiration is so ephemeral. And that's kind of been the, I don't know, I try to just like capture it. We always try to capture it when we can, right? It's like the snitch. And but it's a difficult thing to cultivate, and if you force it, then it doesn't work. But it's, I don't know, that's kind of the magic, I guess.
No, yeah, Louis C.K. I mean, I love Louis C.K. He, I think I know the thing you're talking about. I'm also too when I'm being too healthy, when I'm too focused about being healthy, I actually do get really excited about it. But then I am less like, let's make content. I'm more like, you know what would feel good is another jog.
Yeah.
And I obsess about that. And I spend less time doing the thing that I actually really do love, and which is making videos and whatnot too. So yeah, that's interesting.
Life, man, it's a weird thing,
right? What the heck?
Well, so we've hit an hour. Like, do you need to wrap this up, or
no? I got a few more minutes.
Okay.
I know you've gotten this before. You watched Succession?
Succession,
the show on HBO?
No, I have not.
Somebody has to have said you remind them of Tom Wamsgams. Because it's funny.
Wamsgams.
So I get. Does your producer know what I'm talking about?
I don't think so.
So
maybe he's seen it. I don't know. He hasn't said anything like this.
I get him too. Like people say that I look and kind of sound a little bit like Tom Wamsgams. You definitely do, and it threw me off a little bit for a second. You and I look like we could be his sons.
Right.
In a way.
If you combined our faces, we would become him.
But even like your tone of voice and how you speak, he's a British guy who's speaking with an American accent. You're not British speaking with an American accent, are you?
I am of English descent, but I am in fact very American.
Yes.
Okay. I guess I'm very American. I don't know what that means, but
if you said yes to that question, you're like, yeah, I'm actually British, and I just try to talk like you people. That would have been the best twist I've ever experienced in person. Because you'd be like, why? What was the point of that? I'm like tearing up just thinking of that. Anyway, I just have to let you know from the start of the podcast, it's like, holy fuck, you're the other one. We could be related too, though. I'm just literally looking at our faces next to each other. It makes sense.
I would believe it. Believe it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say no.
Interesting. I'm gonna do some Googling.
You got to watch Succession too. I can't believe you've never seen it. It's the biggest show.
I feel like I need HBO. I had like a trial of it. I used my friend's login, and then I think it like changes. I don't know. I just kind of never got back in. You know. Yeah. I need to get back in. That's my problem.
You need to get back in. Are you the type of person you watch mostly YouTube stuff, or you do like regular TV, Netflix stuff like that?
I usually watch YouTube. However, I've been getting more into Netflix and Hulu and kind of, more high production stuff. I uninstalled YouTube from my phone because it was kind of ruining my life. And now I'm like,
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so now I have the browser. you know, but it's just inconvenient enough to where I don't end up using it. So I've been watching like the show called Beef on Netflix, which is
that
really
looks good.
Yeah, I enjoy it. The first 2 episodes are a bit intense, but it's like it's a great show. I would highly recommend it. And then I'm rewatching Death Note, so like anime, I definitely enjoy some anime. But yeah, I feel like I have kind of gleaned some inspiration or just enjoying it, you know, especially having a channel where I'm covering like TV shows and video games. It was
kind
impossible.
of part of your job,
It was impossible to watch a show or play a video game without being like, oh, you know, I could maybe make a video about this. Or why am I watching this when I could be watching that? And then if I watched that, then I could make a video about it. And it was like impossible to actually just enjoy entertainment. And it was excruciating. I still have this problem with video games. TV is passive enough to where I don't think it's a problem. Whereas like a video game, it's weirdly kind of work, right? Because there's like, oh, I gotta level up. I gotta kill this guy. He's trying to kill me. Oh God, it's like another thing. It's somehow that level of resistance sort of adds to my mental spiral of like, well, I could make a video about this character I'm fighting right now. Like look up his Wikipedia. Oh, interesting.
You need to go down that rabbit hole.
It's horrible. I can't play video games right now. Embarrassing. I know.
I'm the same way, but with like YouTube and social media. Like I barely go on YouTube or obviously Facebook or TikTok. Like I'm never on TikTok. I just basically post those things for that very reason of every time I see like a video, especially if it's something like the stuff that we make, I don't want to do it because I don't want to accidentally rip somebody off. There's only so many topics, and it's like, so I'm always afraid that I see something, forget that I saw it, and then 3 weeks later think I came up with a joke.
Sure.
And then also it just feels like work. It just stresses me out where I'm like, fuck, why didn't I think of that? So I basically don't go on those. So I watch just a lot of documentaries.
I think we can just about wrap it up. I suppose like the one thing I like to ask everybody is like, what is your golden rule? Like if somebody is looking to start a channel, or maybe they're in that period where they don't feel like they're getting the attention they want, what do you tell that person as the golden rule of here's what got me to where I am?
Okay, so that's a good question. Make the stuff that you would want to watch is I think the best encompassing rule of don't make something. If you're trying to make funny videos, don't make something unless you think it's really funny. And it sounds obvious, but there are a lot of people who try to make funny videos and stuff, and they'll be like, I'm basically kind of going off of the meme trend. And it's like, do you actually think that trend thing does actually make you laugh? Because if it doesn't, then you don't really get it. And you're not going to do well with that trend, if that makes any sense.
Totally.
Yeah. I think there's so many people in the world. So if you think it's funny, there's probably 10 million people who have your exact way of looking at shit. And so it will do well. But if you don't get your own content, then nobody's going to get it. If that makes any sense.
Yep. It is YouTube, not they tube. So embody that, people. Don't forget it.
That was really good.
It's the perfect note to end on.
Yeah, perfect.
Try not to steal the show, but anyway, Jack O'Shea, everybody, he is hilarious. Michaela's hilarious. They have like check it out if you haven't already. Seriously, the channel shares his name, and it's good, man. Plumbing jokes, Gogurt jokes, all the jokes. Is
Gogurt's. I think Michaela said that's the best video she thinks we ever made is the Gogurt one. So thank you so much for having me, man.
Yep, I appreciate you being here. And also you, lovely viewer / listener, you are awesome, and I appreciate your eyes and ears. And with that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.
See ya.